Everyone, this is Mindy Egan for Honeybee Stamps, and in today's video, I am going to be making a full panel birthday shaker card. I have not made a full panel shaker card in quite a while, and they always make such a great interactive card, especially when it comes to birthdays. So I'm going to be using the Celebrate background stamp. It is a red rubber stamp, and I'm also going to be using these shaker cover panels. Mine happens to be from Waffle Flower. It's the one I found in my stash, but Honeybee Stamps does have their own branded shaker panels as well. There are ways where you can create your own front panel shaker card, but I like having these ready to go so I can just grab it and create, and I don't have to worry about trimming down any acetate or anything like that. So I'm starting out by placing this background stamp in my Misty stamping tool, and then I have a piece of white cardstock that I put a little bit of repositionable tape on the back. I placed it over my stamp and then closed my Misty backwards so that way my cardstock is stuck down to the bottom of the Misty. This is going to come in super handy with the way that I like to stamp my background panels for an embossed resist technique. So I did prep the cardstock with an anti-static powder tool, and then I'm inking up that background in a white pigment ink. And that is one of my tricks when it comes to white heat embossing is using a white pigment ink. Now, because it is kind of a thicker ink, it likes to try and pull my cardstock up, which is why I also like to put that repositionable tape on the back so that it really sticks down to the bottom and the stamp and the ink won't pull that cardstock up on me. I did stamp that about 3 times total in the white pigment ink, and then I'm sprinkling on some white embossing powder and tapping off any excess back into my container. Then I'm going to make sure that my heat gun is really nice and hot. I'm going to bring that to my panel and just melt all of that. And I get such crisp, clean results when I combine a white pigment ink with white embossing powder. Little hard to see on camera, but it is a lot easier to see in person when you're doing this yourself. I decided I wanted to go with a rainbow color scheme for this, so I just picked out a rainbow of inks. This one happens to be from Simon Says Stamp, but you can use anything that you may have in your stash or any color combination that is your favorite. Normally, if I ink blend a panel, I'll just go around all of the edges with that rainbow assortment, and then that way at the end, I can kind of determine what color I want on the top and the bottom because I can rotate it. But being that I stamped these words, I'm kind of stuck in this one orientation. So I started with pink up in the top right-hand corner. Normally, I would start over in the left-hand corner, but decided to change that up a little bit. I came in with the pink, a little bit of the orange, into the yellow, and then I'm grabbing this green, and I tend to get a little carried away with the pink, unfortunately. So my other colors are a little bit limited in space. Next, I'm coming in with this kind of tealy blue. It's one of my favorite blues that I like to use when it comes to a rainbow combination. And it does kind of go over into the pink to create a purple, but it wasn't enough of a purple for me. So I'm bringing in my own shade of purple and just kind of adding that right at the top, kind of overlapping the blue and the pink just a little bit. Now, because that embossing likes to resist the ink, I'm going to take a paper towel and just buff over all of that to remove any of that excess ink. Embossed resist is such a classic and go-to technique when it comes to creating your cards, and for some reason, especially with a birthday card. Now, with these pre-created shaker panels, you're going to see that it's got the clear center part. That's where our kind of ink blended panel is going to go. And then we have these edges here that have the double-sided tape on them. So it's already on there. All you need to do is remove the backing. I went ahead and folded along all of those lines. You can also take a bone folder if it's a little tough to fold them. And I'm just getting an idea here on how this is going to look. With the shaker panels, you want to leave one edge open because you still need to add your shaker bits to it. So I am just removing all of the backing and I'm folding those tabs over. And this is going to give us such a perfect seal. Nothing is going to escape out of this. I like to leave the top panel open to add my shaker bits. And don't forget, there is kind of this protective film over the top. So you want to make sure to remove that before you really finish sealing anything or adding any sentiments to the front. I dug through my embellishment stash and I found a whole bunch of different types of embellishments that I thought would work in here. So I'm starting out with kind of these bright rainbow sequins mix. I also have some that are iridescent, I think would really pick up the color nicely. And then I also have these stars. You can see I have a little helping hand there over on the right hand side. He was really enjoying seeing the shaker card come to life. Now that I have all of my shaker bits in there, I can seal up that top flap. We give this a shake and it is stunning. Those stars and the iridescent, I think, just really make this shine. And you could see that my son was having a really great time shaking that up. For the sentiment for the front, I'm going to keep this pretty simple and I'm just using the big birthday die. So this has a word die to it plus a shadow layer. I'm just going to be using the word die itself. I die cut it from holographic cardstock and then two more times from a white cardstock. And I'm going to layer that together. I apologize for my head popping in here a little bit in screen. I needed to really get in there to make sure it was lining up perfectly. Now, because I'm not using that shadow layer, I am kind of lining it up on the front of my panel to make sure that my margins are even on each side because I have to do this kind of by eyeballing or on my own without the help of that shadow layer. I'm adding the liquid glue behind that and then I'm going to place something heavy on it and let it sit. You do want to be careful because liquid glue does like to slide on acetate. So I'll put that heavy block on there and let it sit and then get some glue behind my other half of the word and add this next to it as well. Now, probably on screen and in my pictures, it's going to look like the sentiment almost kind of disappears, or maybe the holographic wasn't the best choice. But I promise you, in person, this looks amazing. It is very festive and fun and sparkly. So the pictures can be a little deceiving. I created a side folding card base and I want to make sure that this panel does not pop off. So I am bringing in some red line tape. I added it all the way around the outer edge and also a couple pieces in the middle. And then I'll remove the backing of that red line tape and I'm going to add my shaker panel to the front. Just really make sure you have your edges lined up good because that stuff does really stick down once you secure it in place. And that is going to finish off my birthday card. It was really quick and easy to do. Birthday cards are something I just always need on hand, and I love festive, bright, and sparkly birthday cards. And if you've never done a full panel shaker card, I do highly recommend them. You can use the pre designed ones, which I do recommend because they're so quick and easy, but you can make them yourself from leftover packaging from your stamp sets. I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Thanks so much for watching.